Hey. What's going on, Nuclear Dads? It is I, your host and tour guide, E.C. McKeever. Today we are going to visit a few destinations that focus on attitude. Now this is episode 13. We're getting up there. We're a teenager now. So this is that time where we start to develop and we realize who we are. We start figuring things out about ourselves, right? Metaphorically speaking, you remember those years. First experiences with girls, first experiences with yourself. Hair started growing in different places. Your voice started changing. Mine didn't change until I was like 17, but different story. Maybe 16, but different story. But I want to talk about attitude, or as we like to say, Daditude. And we started off with a little don't worry, be happy. Because again, we're doing things a little different. We want to start with the music to get a feel for how the show is going to be. And this one, I want to give you all positive vibes. No danger talk. Well, I mean, of course there's going to be some danger talk. What am I talking about? We're dangerous. But today we're going to focus on our own happiness. We talked about motivation and we talked about all kind of things, creating positive spaces for yourself externally. But what we're going to talk about today is cultivating a positive inner space for yourself, right? We live in a country where we pioneered the space race, and there's talks of satellites and rovers and explorer vehicles and ships and crews and space stations to explore this outer world, the outer reaches of the planetary sphere and beyond, and exploring the outer reaches of the solar system and looking at quasars and black holes and solar flares and quarks and all of this crazy stuff. But how often do we talk about our inner space? I don't hear too much of it unless you're like into the new age stuff and they're talking about meditation, and that's cool if that's your thing. Again, we follow Christ over on this side, but no judgment at all. But inner space, that's where we're going with this. So strap on your seatbelts, keep your tray tables in the upright position. We are about to ascend, and I got a feeling it's going to be a good night. And we're back. That was the incredible Black Eyed Peas with I Got a Feeling. Tonight's going to be a good night. I just got this feeling, guys. Can you feel it? I hope you can feel it. I can feel it. You'll feel it. Don't worry. Give it time. But we're going to get right into the info today. I may throw some personal experiences in here, but I want to go right to the science. So what we're going to talk about is why attitude is important. A positive attitude is important. What are the effects, or what are some of the things you can look out for when you may be having a negative attitude, and how to change that, and how to make yourself think positive, right? Because positive self-talk is important. Example, think about a child who grew up in a not so loving, not so safe space, and they were constantly belittled and abused verbally, emotionally, physically, and told that they were stupid and they were ugly and they were good for nothing. These kids are going to grow up with all kind of complexes, and it's going to take years of therapy to reverse that process, right? And they're going to, by default, have negative self-talk. There is going to be a self-defeating principle inside of this person, male or female. Every time they go to try something new, there's going to be a little voice in there that's like, you can't do that. You're not that smart. Or they'll see someone and they'll be like, you're not as handsome as him. You're ugly. You're not as pretty as her. You could never look like that. You're just not attractive. And this could be you. If it is, I'm sorry. But we're going to change that today, sir. And it may not be an overnight process. This is going to take work, serious work. But if you are committed and if you are serious, you will see positive changes. Now, I think if anyone's going through this, in the smallest sense of the word, a therapy is definitely needed. But hopefully this will be a launch pad to get you off to a good start. So let's get right into the science. Because after all, the world is what you make it. And I personally believe that it's a wonderful world. All right, guys, that was a little Louis Armstrong. What a wonderful world. There's something about that guy's voice. He just one of those guys, he had that voice, anything he said would just come out good. I don't know if his voice was like that all the time. I think it was from playing his instrument for so long. Something happened to his throat, or maybe that's just him. Maybe it's like the James Earl Jones effect, right? He just had that deep, raspy, I see skies of blue. Only one person in the world in history could sound like that. If there was another Louis Armstrong, he probably lived in obscurity 300 years ago. And nobody cared, because he's probably like a super manly dude. But anyway, I digress. Let's get into the article. This is actually from Indeed.com. Yeah, the job place. This article is from 2021 by the Indeed editorial team. And it says, why is attitude important? And 11 tips for maintaining a positive attitude. Maintaining a positive attitude throughout your personal and professional life can help you find healthy coping mechanisms for stressors and challenges. With a positive attitude, you may be able to overcome obstacles more easily, find more opportunities to express gratitude in your life, and even forge actionable paths toward achieving your dreams. While fostering a positive outlook on a day-to-day basis can sometimes feel challenging, especially when you're experiencing tension in your life, it is a worthwhile endeavor to undertake. In this article, we'll discuss what attitude is, why it's important, and outline 11 helpful tips for maintaining a positive attitude. Now they say, what is it? What is attitude? It's the way a person thinks or feels about a specific person, place, action, or experience. Fair enough. Why is it important? It's important because it can influence your ability to move throughout the world. For instance, maintaining a positive attitude can help you achieve measurable success in your personal and professional life. Your outlook can greatly impact your health, social life, earning potential, productivity, ability to overcome obstacles, and more. With a positive attitude, excelling in these various domains of life can become a much simpler endeavor, creating enormous benefits that can significantly improve the quality of your life. Comparatively, if you maintain a negative or skeptical attitude, you may not be able to access the same benefits. Tips for maintaining a positive attitude: start your day off right. Beginning your day with a purpose is an incredibly powerful way to cultivate positivity in your life. Instead of rushing out of the house without eating breakfast, try to wake up earlier in the morning and use the extra time to make it one of the best parts of your life. You may choose to start your day with any activity that brings you joy, relaxation, and energy. Some people work out, some people pray, some people meditate, some people journal. There is a Daditude journal coming. I see everyone talking about gratitude journals. We are going to have the Daditude journal. Look out for that. I'm in the process of cooking it up now. As soon as I finish this podcast, I'm putting the finishing touches on it. Should be available in the next couple days. Stay tuned. Curate a positive workspace. We talked about the danger zone. Generate a routine that you can follow. Discipline is very important. Start your day off right. Set it up to where maybe during your lunch break, you do some mindfulness. Before bed, maybe you take a bath, maybe you de-stress in some kind of way. Spend some time in your danger zone, coming up with your game plan. Reframe your interactions. Practice positive language. All of that metaphorical, cliche. I don't want to say law of attraction, but some of that stuff has its merit. But things like, I'm a good person. I'm handsome. I'm capable. I'm wonderful. I'm rich. I'm abundant. I love my family. I love my job. I love my life. All of these things said in a positive way, repeated over time, consecutively. The Buddhists call it a mantra. You can use that word if you want. I'm not telling you to, but it's like a chorus in a song, the part that gets repeated. You want to repeat the most positive things to yourself over and over in a consistent basis. Come up with your own mantra. Maybe I'll put that in the Daditude journal. Something I'm going to think about. Avoid gossiping. That goes without saying. There's no need to be a chatty patty, fellas. Show your appreciation for others. That's right. Celebrate people. People do great things. Celebrate it. You'll reap the benefits. Be kind to yourself. That is especially important. Take breaks when you need them, and have something to look forward to, and practice mindfulness. Like I just said, it's pretty good. Indeed.com. Something else called white space, bewhitespace.com. bewhitespace.com. This is a blog from 2017, The Importance of Attitude, how changing your attitude can change your life. This is pretty long. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but let's go down and find some good stuff. Making and maintaining attitudinal shifts. I like the way that's phrased. I mean, it's a lot of regurgitation of the same thing. Why it's important, how to make those changes. We'll get into that. But this is a good article you might want to check out. bewhitespace.com. The Importance of Attitude. Pretty good. Super long though. We're not going there today. I'm not going to read to you for an hour. I just want to give you the nuts and bolts. Give you a little music. Get you on your way. The importance of having a right attitude in life. And this is from Marine Insight. This is for boaters. 2019. Our attitude is what influences all of our actions. It is only the right attitude which gives us good results. All the smiles and handshakes are not going to get you far if you do not have the attitude to help out others, without any selfish expectation in return. If you expect something in return, then it's not help, it's only a favor, and you are only interested in your own selfish desires. Again, celebrate people unselfishly. There's nothing wrong with that. It has been said that opportunity knocks at every door. If we utilize it, it leads to success. Otherwise, we just complain about the noise. Every problem that we face is nothing but an opportunity to success. By learning how to conquer it, the better we get at problem solving, the more successful we are. Some common do's and don'ts. Accept responsibility. Create the right attitude. Have consideration for the other person. Avoid criticism, especially in public. Be positive in your interpretation of another person's actions. Give people the benefit of the doubt. Be an empathetic listener. Seek to understand. Be enthusiastic in whatever you do. Give 110%. Smile while you're doing it. Remember that old song, Whistle While You Work? It's the thing. Give honest and sincere appreciation whenever a person deserves this. This is not to be confused with flattery, which shows up the lack of character of the flatterer. The moment someone points out any of your mistakes, it is better to accept it graciously instead of launching your own divisionary tactics to shift the blame elsewhere. Don't get unnecessarily involved in arguments. If it ain't got nothing to do with you, stay out of it. I agree with that. They achieved nothing. Neither side knows the facts. If they did, they wouldn't argue. How about them apples? In order to learn anything new, you need an exchange of ideas. This can only be done with a discussion, a give and take of information and ideas. Discussions can often lead to arguments if there's more than one dominating personality involved. An argument is basically a clash of egos. Avoid gossip. Again, don't just vaguely promise something. When you make a commitment, follow through. Be grateful for all that you are enjoying. Again, the Daditude journal. Gratitude is super important for attitude. And your latitude is determined by your daditude. Be dependable and loyal. Be sure that people can rely on your word as being as solid as a fact that the sun rises every day, and if you jump off a building, gravity will pull you down. Let your word be as strong as that. Don't hold grudges for anyone's past mistakes. Yeah, you got to learn to get over stuff, guys. Sincerity of purpose is an admirable quality. The reason behind you doing something should be as believable as when someone talks to their doctor and they say, hey, this is what's going on, this is what you have, this is the outcome. They believe the doctor. They should be able to believe you when you are explaining something to them. Your sincerity should go without question. So should your loyalty. Always try to maintain your sense of humor. Hey, laughing is the best medicine. Immature people enjoy putting down their juniors or people under their control. Sarcastically, the misguided impression that they are cracking a joke. You should laugh with someone, never at someone. We got a saying where I'm from: be leery of people who say negative things in a joking manner. Most times, they're telling the truth, passive aggressively. Be a true friend. Friendship usually involves some sacrifice. It's the very opposite of selfishness. Be an empathetic listener. Empathy differs from sympathy. Sympathy is when you agree to what the person is saying, even if it is wrong, just for the sake of friendship. It is actually a betrayal of friendship. Since you are being dishonest, it can often become a crutch on which your friend is leaning. Don't be an enabler. You are harming him more than helping him by justifying his wrong deeds with sympathy. An empathetic listener only tries to understand logically what a person is trying to say, after which he may try to convince the person diplomatically that what he is doing may be wrong and what should be the correct course of action without hurting his sentiments. It's pretty good. MarineInsight.com. How to develop a positive attitude in the workspace. Business News Daily. Your attitude at work can impact your career as well as your general outlook on life. I mean that. I don't even have to read it. That's enough. I mean, it's a pretty lengthy article. I skimmed through it. It does sound pretty good, but again, I want to give you the nuts and bolts. I want to talk to you and know that the seeds that I'm planting is enough for you to go and water it and dig into some of this stuff yourself. Now let's get into some negativity. 8 negative attitudes of chronically unhappy people. The mind is its own place, and in itself can make a heaven of hell and a hell of heaven. That's an excerpt from Paradise Lost by John Milton. Almost all painful feelings have their source in an incorrect way of looking at reality. When you uproot erroneous views, suffering ceases. The Buddha. Self-defeating talk, number 1. I just talked about that. Things such as I can't, I'm not good enough, I'm not confident, I don't have what it takes, I'm going to fail. Negative assumptions. Negative comparisons to others. Negative rumination about the past. Don't dwell on things that happened to you before. Abraham Lincoln lost 8 elections, failed twice in business, and suffered a nervous breakdown before he became the president of the United States. Think about that. The average person would have just given up. I can never be it. Now he's one of the most popular presidents in the history of this country. What if he would have given up after he lost the first election, or failed at the first business, or after that nervous breakdown? I mean, I'm not even going to go there. I was going to say something about emancipation. I'm not going there. Disempowering beliefs about difficult people. Most of us encounter difficult people in our lives. In the face of such challenging individuals, it is tempting to believe that they are the perpetrators and we are the victims, or that they hold the power with their challenging behavior. Such attitudes, even if justified, are reactive and thus self-weakening. The desire to blame is another negative attribute of chronically negative people. The struggle to forgive yourself. We are our own worst critics, it's true, but some people who have chronic negative self-talk and a negative self-image, they blame themselves for everything. I mean, it could rain and it could be like, oh my God, what did I do? Why is it raining today for me? Like, no, it's not about you. It's just the weather, dude. Forgive yourself. Everything isn't your fault. And number 8, people have a fear of making mistakes. We call it the paralysis of analysis. Sometimes you're such a perfectionist or such a people pleaser that you don't even want to start something in the fear that you could screw it up. But sometimes it's better to do something to completion the wrong way and figure out how to do it the right way than to not do it at all. And maybe if you do something and it turns out that you didn't do it exactly the right way, it may be a different way of doing it. It may not be a right or wrong. It could just be apples and oranges. Think about that. PsychologyToday.com. Pretty interesting. Oh man, here's another one. This is from Simplicable.com. This is very simple. This is 104 examples of negative attitudes from December 2021. Oh, it's words. Okay, I like this. So it's not a whole article. Okay, a negative attitude is an interaction to create negative behavior or outcomes. I'm sorry, let's start again. I'm reading faster than I can talk. A negative attitude is an intention to create negative behavior or outcomes. These are situational, whereby an individual may be positive towards one thing and negative towards another. Negative attitudes shouldn't be confused with negative emotions that are involuntary states. In some cases, negative attitudes have some logic to them or are an unreasonable response to a negative situation. However, habitual or emotionally driven negative attitudes tend to produce problems, failures, and general unhappiness. The following are common negative attitudes. I'm going to run through them fast. Agitated, aloof, apathetic, arrogant, assuming, biased, bigoted, bitter, boastful, boorish, calculating, callous, careless, cold, combative, complacent, conceited, condescending, cowardly, cynical, deceptive, defeatist, denial, destructive, disagreeable, discourteous, discriminatory, disengaged, disgruntled, dishonest, disrespectful, distrustful, disturbed, dogmatic, envious, foolish, greedy, hostile, impatient, imperative, impolite, impractical, imprudent, inattentive, indifferent, inflexible, insincere, intolerant, irresponsible, jealous, lazy, lethargic, listless, malicious, neglectful, obnoxious, opinionated, over anxious, overconfident, overeager, passive-aggressive, patronizing, pessimistic, pompous, presumptuous, pretentious, priggish, reckless, relentless, resentful, rough, ruthless, scheming, self-absorbed, self-righteous, selfish, smug, spineless, spiteful, standoffish, stubborn, subversive, suspicious, psychopathic, thoughtless, timid, unapproachable, uncivil, uncommunicative, uncouth, unethical, unfeeling, unfriendly, unprofessional, unreasonable, unreliable, unscrupulous, unsympathetic, unwelcoming, uptight, vain, vicious, and withdrawn. Now that is very interesting. I like how they broke it down with just words. That was very cool. I understand why they call it Simplicable.com. I'm going to bookmark this. They probably have some other interesting things that are strictly in word or list form. I like that. Keep it simple. 8 types of negative attitudes and behaviors in life. Let's see, do we want to read this? Yeah, number 1, negative comparisons. Destructive self-thoughts. Assuming situations, making mountains out of molehills. The blame game, not taking responsibility. Negative throwbacks. That's interesting. I never heard that. It is believed that one should... What? Yeah, they typed, they're messing up. I thought it was me. It is believed that one should, I'm guessing, leave the past in the past and not cling onto it for too long. Okay, negative throwbacks. I got it. Okay, wallowing in guilt, giving power to troubled people, fear of not being perfect. So this is a lot of regurgitation, just worded differently. Cool. Now, let's get into something a little more positive. I think that was good, because at the end of the day, it's up to us to make sure that we can prime our day. We can program our day. I mean, you wake up in the morning, whether you wake up while the sun hasn't risen or, it's just rising over the horizon, whatever the case, when you get up, you take a minute to reflect before you even get out of the bed. You give yourself some positive self-talk. You do your routine, whether it's working out, whether it's having breakfast, whether it's praying or meditating, or simply kissing your kids, holding your wife. Whatever your routine is that you create, after you do it, you leave the house with a smile on your face. Even if you're running late, it's okay. You're not perfect. Things happen. Don't let it ruin your day. And make sure throughout the entire day, you're walking on sunshine, baby. All right, and we're back. That was a little Walking on Sunshine by Katrina and the Waves. You see what I'm doing with the music? You see why you got to come over to Spotify and get the full experience? It just hits different. Now we're going to get into a little bit more of why a positive attitude is good, aside from the surface level stuff. Now, this is an article, it's a blog post from 2020. This is achievemedicalcenter.com, and it's titled, Your Brain Thrives on Positivity. We love feeling good. Our day seems brighter. Tasks are more manageable, and nothing can get in our way when we are optimistic. Positivity increases our self-confidence. That is why we take risks. The power of positivity drives us to find the good in others. We have faith in ourselves and others, freeing us to accept affirmative responses. A feel-good attitude generates from the neurons in our brain. To understand the effect positive and negative feelings have on our mindset, we need to know how our brain functions. Our brain controls our emotions in the amygdala. The amygdala regulates and responds to positive emotions like joy or negative emotions like anxiety or depression. Positive thinking changes the chemistry of the brain, affecting genetic markers that can change brain cells. The change of genetic traits is a catalyst for our well-being in future generations. Positive thinking is also associated with the increase in the cells that boost your immune system. Essentially, positive energy is a soldier that protects your mind and body from harmful influences. Healthy emotions create a buffer that can suppress negative emotions such as depression or post-traumatic stress disorder. Think about that. Just thinking positive can affect your future generations. Who knew that a smile could pass through your DNA and affect your children? That is mind-blowing. I could stop right there. But I won't. Our brain chemistry affects how we feel. Cortisol decreases when we think happy thoughts or feel joy, and the brain secretes serotonin in response to our positive emotions. When serotonin levels are normal, one feels happy, calm, less anxious, more focused, and emotionally stable. Positive emotion impacts the brain's prefrontal cortex, located in the front of the brain. Obviously, prefrontal. When the prefrontal cortex is activated, there is an increase in activity and zeal. The increase in positivity establishes heightened mental reactions such as creative thinking, intellectual adaptability, and an increase in the brain's capacity to process information. Our attention span is increased when we think in terms of we instead of me. The Prefrontal cortex is essential in the mind-body connection. All of our brain functions come together in the prefrontal cortex and then are spread throughout the body. Think of the prefrontal cortex as the internet. When we want to know something, we use a search engine, prefrontal cortex. The search engine takes the question or information and begins to search the internet. The signals, neurons, scour for information and sends back what it finds. Once the information is presented on the search results screen, you have the opportunity to reflect. The disbursement of neurons also helps you control your emotions, focus, and realize your thought process. That is interesting. They have another article, How Does Positive Thinking Affect Neuroplasticity? Outlines how positive thinking affects our brain. The synapses, areas connecting neurons, increase, in turn increasing mental productivity by improving cognition. It intensifies the ability to pay attention, improves the ability to think and analyze incoming data, enhances the ability to solve problems quickly, and enhance creativity. And that makes a lot of sense because growing up where I grew up, there were some kids who obviously had some problems at home and they were not happy. They were not loved. They were not hugged. They were not kissed. They were not encouraged. And these kids all had problems learning. Not all, but most. Because some kids require you to know their home situation. But the kids who I knew who their parents were, I could see how they acted in school, and it all makes sense. It hit me just now like a ton of bricks. That's why so-and-so got a 10 on the spelling test, 10 out of 100. This is why so-and-so couldn't read well. This is why so-and-so was always acting out, because they couldn't grasp the work, because they were always in a negative frame of mind. They weren't optimistically primed to have that increased learning ability and cognitional function. Makes total sense. I'm bookmarking this site. I'm coming back here. They got some dope info. Next up, how does thinking positive affect neuroplasticity? Boom. I'm going to get into just a little bit. Oh, they're talking about kids. See? I know what I'm saying. While working with a group of 5th graders the other day, we had a wonderful discussion regarding neuroplasticity and how one could actually change the shape and development of his or her brain. These students already had the basic understanding of how neurons process and store information and how they form neural networks. We're learning something new. They understood that neurotransmitters were passed from one neuron to another and recognized the importance of the synapse. As their brains connected new information to their prior knowledge, more and more synapses were formed within the human brain. What they didn't realize was how positive and negative thoughts affect this growth and development of these miraculous neurons and their synaptic functions. That is very interesting. I'm not going to get into it anymore because you get the point. Positivity and optimism has your brain firing on 12 cylinders. That's all we need to know. Psychalive.org. Thinking positively. Why you need to wire your brain to think positive. I mean, we kind of already got into that, but let's look at the benefits of thinking positively. Thinking positively. Studies show that positive thinking is good for both our mental and physical health, according to the Mayo Clinic. The health benefits of positive thinking may include increased lifespan, lower rates of depression, lower levels of distress, greater resistance to the common cold, better psychological and physical well-being, better cardiovascular health, and reduced risk of death from cardiovascular disease, better coping skills during hardships and times of stress. How to wire your brain to think more positively. Take time to take in the good. Spend more time soaking up positive experiences. Spend time with your babies, man. Just playing. Go outside, run. Yesterday, my sons and I were out flying kites. I mean, I got it from the dollar store. They broke within like 3 minutes, but we had fun. It's an experience I'll treasure forever. They never flew a kite before. Spend more time soaking up positive experiences. Remember that your brain doesn't automatically store positive stimuli in your long-term memory. You need to give it a boost. Dr. Hansen suggests that when you have a good experience, no matter how mild it may be, try to stay with it for 20 or 30 seconds in a row instead of getting distracted by something else. This process helps strengthen positive thinking patterns in your brain. The more you practice savoring positive moments and taking in the good, the easier it will be for you to think positive. So if there is a nice moment between you and a loved one, take 10 to 30 seconds to bask in the glow of the warm feelings. If you notice a particularly beautiful sunset on your walk or drive home, take a few extra moments to drink it in. If you happen upon a blooming garden, literally stop and smell the roses. By taking time to soak up pleasant experiences, you are rewiring your brain to be more positive. Side note, essential oils and aromatherapy alters your brainwave. This is a hack. Get some essential oils. You get the oils, you would either get a diffuser, put it in a tub, put some on your body, doesn't matter, but you need to inhale them. And simultaneously, while you inhale them, you need to look at something positive, listen to something positive, but you need to trigger your brain with pleasant thoughts. On a different note, or on the same note, but an enhancement to the hack, rose. We talk about vibrational patterns, right? High vibes, low vibes. The rose, they talked about smelling the roses. The rose has the highest vibratory rate of any flower on planet Earth. Get some rose essential oil. And when you do these mindfulness practices, make sure you can literally smell roses. That's where the phrase comes from, smelling the roses. It has a high vibratory level, and you can sync with that. You can literally become a rose in your mind. You're welcome. Write down what you're grateful for. Daditude journal coming soon. Don't even need to get into it. Don't get caught up in self-criticism. Practice self-compassion. Yes, be gentle with yourself. Avoid negative or cynical people. Yeah, toxic people. They're a brain drain. Be generous. If you got toxic people in your life, get away from them. I don't care if it's family. Some people you can't get away from, but you can definitely spend a conversation. When they start getting into all of that gossiping and bickering and the negative stuff, change the subject. Let them talk, but don't answer. Don't engage in it. Change the subject. They go back negative, you go back positive. They go negative, you go positive. They'll eventually learn a pattern and realize they can't talk to you about negative stuff. Every time they bring it up, brick wall comes up. It's like a Captain America shield. Bounces right off. And they start throwing stuff at you. Negative, negative, negative. Shields. Positive. You can be like, damn, I can't get this guy upset. I mean, you can if I let you. But thankfully, I've learned to militarize my brain against this negativity. I've got positivity shields. Impenetrable, baby. There's another one. Happy brain, happy life. Happy brains are more creative, quicker, and more mentally alert. I mean, this is regurgitation. Happy brains stimulate the growth of nerve connections, improve cognition by increasing mental productivity, improves your ability to analyze and think, affects your view of your surroundings, increases attentiveness, leads to more happy thoughts. Yeah, I mean, everything that we said. I think that's it, guys. I think we're good. This is going to be a shorter episode. We're shooting for like 30, 40 minutes, so this is good. So I hope this helps. I hope that you can apply some of these things and you understand why I want you to think the way that I want you to think. I want you to get out of that stinking thinking, get out of that negative mind state, get away from people that are in negative mind states, and cultivate positive spaces for your emotions, because you're going to need it. And what's to come in this world, I won't get spooky, but what's to come, we're going to need strong men. We're going to need you. Your family's going to need you. The world's going to need you. So I don't need you beating yourself up and being down in the dumps all day, every day. You got your time. Process your emotions. I'm not telling you to be a robot, but under no circumstances, dwell on it. Under no circumstances, let it consume your every waking moment. You're human. You have permission to feel how you feel, but you better get over it quick. Because the more you think negative, the more negativity you'll think. Does that make sense? It's a saying that says if you want things in your life to change, change things in your life. People, places, and things. The things being the way that you think. Now, before we go, I want you to remember a few things. I want you to remember to stay focused. I want you to remember your vision. I want you to stay vigilant. I want you to remember your mission. I want you to stay the course, sir. And most importantly, I want you to stay cool. Have a lovely day.